All right, well, I have 6 o'clock, so I'm going to go ahead and call this meeting to order. Do it mind, rise. As we have a quick prayer, and then we'll move into the pledge.
Lord, thank you for the opportunity to come together and do this year's business and just pray for the guard and vibrations tonight on the Boy Scouts on your name.
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome everyone out tonight. Appreciate everybody showing up. Could I have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Jim Lindy? Here. Mr. Kenny Edmondson? Mr. Krista Hewitt? Here. Mr. Clay Cropper? Here. And on Mark, Ms. Sarah Cummins is absent.
All right, you have before you, or on the screen, which way you're looking, an agenda for tonight. I'd entertain a motion to accept the agenda unless someone would like to add something. Is there anything that needs to be added? I guess I should start with.
I'll add something. Mark on the Ridge.
You want to move that under parks? Or do you want to? Do you want to add it under reports, or do you want to add it as an item?
Item.
Okay. I'll go into more agendas. Sometimes there's some extra agendas here if anybody wants them. All right. Add under old business item 2, Falcon Ridge. All right. Anything else? Jim, did you want? Is there something you want to add? Okay. Well, I'd entertain a motion to accept the agenda with the addition of Rocking Bridge as item 2 to old business. Motion by Jim, to have a second. Second by Clay. All in favor? All right, motion carries. All right, you have the minutes. The minutes are on the screen as well from the last meeting, which is July 17th. Scroll on down here to get to the good stuff. Alright, minutes from previous meetings. Does anyone see any additions or corrections that need to be made to the official minutes? If not, I'd entertain a motion to accept the minutes as presented. Motion by Chris. Do I have a second on that? Alright, second by Jim. All in favor? I'm sorry, I didn't see it. All in favor, raise your hand. All right, I'm trying. Sorry. All right, motion carries. All right, I know this is a little bit unorthodox, but what I'd like to do is suspend reports until we move straight into old business and then come back to reports. hopefully we'll be able to see replacement council person tonight. And we'll slide on down past the report section, straight into the whole business. As all of you are aware, at the last meeting we discussed the vacancy on the council when Councilwoman Jody Felford passed away last month. For the council's request, per statute, which is defined in KRS 83A040, defines the procedure for filling a vacancy in a legislative body. Basically, the legislative body has to vote for to fill the vacancy. We talked about this at the last meeting. The council wanted to open that up to the public. That was subsequently run in the paper and open to anyone that was interested. You should have, the rest of you, did you pass those out, those packets that you put together earlier?
Yes.
Okay.
You got that one set too?
Yep, everyone should have a packet of, we did have four citizens that expressed interest. Each of the 4 letters are here. We can go through those one at a time. What I'd like to do at this time, though, is introduce the 4 candidates for the vacant seat. Give them just a minute or two to address the council and the members, or the citizens in attendance, and then we'll move into filling that vacancy. So just in no particular order, just the way that I put them on the website. Is Donnie here? Okay. Donnie Hain, this is the letter that he submitted to me. We'll just put that up there so you guys can read that. Donnie was here to give him the opportunity to introduce himself and address you, but he's not. So we'll move along. Ashley Humphrey Brinker is the next person. Ashley Lincoln.
She's at the hospital, her sister.
Yeah. She did send, you should have a copy of this. I'll put this letter up here. You guys can take a second to read through this. Her sister was having a baby tonight.
Sure.
And she sent me an email and she called me and apologized for not being able to be here, but she was at the hospital with her sister. So I told her I would pass that information along and let you take a look at this letter. Anybody need any additional time? You should have that in front of you as well. The next candidate is Ronald Maddox. Ron, he's here with us tonight, if you wouldn't mind.
My name's Ron Maddox. I was a fireman here in Dry Ridge for 20 years. Most of my time was done under Army. Please don't hold that against me. My thing is that city council is just another form of service to the city that I would love to be able to do. Did 20 years. Honestly, I retired out. I retired after 20, basically because it was taking a lot of my time from my family. My kids are almost grown now, and it's time for me to get back into service of some sort, for the city that I live in.
Thank you, Ron. This is the letter that Ron submitted. All these letters should be in front of you. Give me 1 second to read through that.
I as well, conform to my letter says, I have worked with the health department for 24 years. I recently retired. I now work volunteer for the Free Kitchen, Red Cross, Red Cross. Also, my husband has been on the Dryden Fire Department for close to 38 years, volunteer, volunteer. I started the Ladies Auxiliary way back 38 years ago when it was formed. I started with Dr. Gibbons, also the vice president of that. And that is what I've done. I think I can attribute to this council to the city of Grand Ridge. I'm very proud of being a member of. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mary. This on screen is the letter. You should have a copy of it as well. This is the letter that Mary Smith is her interest in the position. All right, those are the four nominees, or four interested citizens that would like the opportunity to serve on city council. The legislatures and forefathers that wrote the statutes, they left this very open into how this procedure works. They don't define the exact procedure for voting on the replacement of a legislative body member. The only thing that it does, there are a few things that it does say has to be done. It has to be done in open session, which means there's no form of a ballot, a secret ballot or anything like that can be used to approve this person. It has to be done in open meeting. It can't be done in executive session. All of the candidates have to meet the requirements, which I believe they all do. And other than that, that is pretty much all the statute calls for. So with that, we've had a lot of discussion today on the exact procedure. What we've agreed to do, what we're going to do for this, is we're going to take each candidate and we're going to we'll do a roll call vote on each candidate. You can vote for each candidate. Once we get through all four candidates, then we'll tally the scores to see if we have a majority. It does have to be a majority. There are 5 people sitting there, or 4 people sitting there. So it does have to be a majority. If that majority is reached, if we have a vote of 3, then that person will become the replacement. If we don't, if we have a runoff, then we'll have to have another vote on the runoff.
You want to vote on the 2 that are here?
If you would prefer to do that, I think we can do that.
Eliminate the 2 that aren't.
Eliminate the 2 that aren't here. Is that what you mean?
I agree. Am I allowed to do that?
Yeah.
That's my concern with that. I'm not saying that we would have necessarily couldn't have done it that way, but I think that the way we proceeded with it, I think that would be a potential issue.
So we still vote?
Because I don't know if we made it clear.
Yeah.
I mean, right, I mean, you guys can consider that or not consider it as a factor. I'm not saying that, but I think procedurally, unless we made it clear you had to be here tonight,
Which we didn't.
which I don't think we
If you
did.
think you wouldn't want to be here, then maybe I'll say council.
Well,
I'm not going to argue the way I'm this one.
I think it would still be fair to vote for each position, go up and down on each one. So with that being the format, we'll just vote. We'll vote these through one at a time, and then we'll tally the scores. This is such a unique position. Like I said, if you read section 83A040, it talks. Well, it's a page and a half. There's only one half of one paragraph that even deals with what to do with a vacancy on a legislative body. Most of it is dealing with the vacancy of the mayor. However, if for some reason the council can't come to a consensus tonight on a replacement person for the seat, then the governor's office will make the appointment. The legislative body has 30 days. It doesn't say that, so I really don't know. All right. So, Amy, may I have a roll call vote for Donnie Haynes?
Clay? I'm voting on Donnie. A yes or a no?
Well, I'd like to vote for all four of them. I know I can't. And it's, I just would like to tell council, I think we have four good nominees. And I read all of the things today, and all of them could qualify, and it puts everybody on the spot how to vote. So I just, whoever gets it, I congratulate them, but this time I just pass.
Kenny?
Is that standing on the fence or what?
Jim? Carissa? No.
Okay. I have a roll call vote for Ashley Humphrey Brinkers.
Yes. Clay on Ashley?
No.
Kenny? Jim?
No.
Carissa? Yes.
Okay. Could I have a roll call vote for Ron Maddox, please?
Yes. Clay?
No.
Kenny?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Carissa?
I'm sorry.
You can't vote but one time, can you?
Yeah, I can't
Yeah.
vote.
Yeah, you're going,
Right. If I vote yes for Ashley, would you vote for everybody else?
no. On the, on
Can't vote anymore.
Oh, I'm sorry.
yeah, you can vote up and down for each person.
Okay.
Yeah, this has to be a vote up or down for each person. So. So what was that?
No.
I misunderstood.
Okay. All right. This is something that is completely out of the realm of, that happens very infrequently. And then to have four very interested parties. This usually doesn't happen. That's the reason why this has been a very difficult process. So, just to recap on how this works. The first round of voting, you can vote for multiple people. You can vote more than one time. Yeah, I'm sorry if I was not perfectly clear on that. You have to vote each person up or down.
Okay.
And then if there is if one person has the 3 votes on the first go around, they automatically fill that seat. If not, then we work it down. And I apologize if I did not make that clear.
I apologize. Do we want to avoid those?
I think we should avoid those. Just, you can still vote. You can either, you can ask or abstain as you
Who you want to go with. And then once you eliminate is 1 or 2, then you redo it. And at some point you get down to 2.
Okay. Let's start. All right, can I have a roll call vote, please, for Don Shea?
Don Clay? Yes or no on Donnie?
Just starting over.
Starting over.
Yes.
Kenny? Jim? Carissa? No.
Kenny was a yes.
Kenny was a yes.
All right, can I have a roll call vote, please, for Ashley Humphrey Brinkley?
Clay?
Drew.
For Ashley?
Wait a minute. Who did we just vote on?
Donnie?
That should have been a no. I thought we were doing that. I thought we were going back to
Well, I thought it was on Maddox too, I'm sorry.
Okay, so we were on Donnie. So let's start over. On Donnie.
I vote no.
Okay. So, no on Donnie. Kenny, yours is no on Donnie.
Okay.
Jim? On Donnie, and Carissa on Donnie.
Okay.
Okay, now we're on Ashley.
This is on Ashley. Up or down for each one of these people.
Clay on Ashley.
Yes.
Kenny?
No.
Jim?
No.
Carissa? Yes.
All right, may I have an up and down vote, please, on Ron Maddox?
Clay?
Yes.
Kenny?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Carissa? No.
May I have an up and down vote, please, on Mary Conlon?
Clay?
Yes.
Kenny? Jim?
Yes.
Carissa? Yes.
Okay. Donnie has been eliminated, all no's, and see, the tally is 3 yeses apiece for Ron and Mary. So basically, it gets down to what you want to vote. So now we'll have one more final vote, and this vote only counts as one vote. You have one vote for this, and that is for each of these two.
This is it.
This is it. All right, Clay, in one vote this time.
Are you gonna do it on each person, or are you gonna ask which one?
We'll do each person.
Okay.
How many we roll call?
One.
This is between Ron Maddox and Mary Conlon. Just these two. You have one vote this time. All right. Okay, that's fine. What's the same vote? Who would you?
Clay?
Okay.
Kenny?
Mr. Maddox.
Jim? Mr. Maddox, Ms. Conlon. And Ms. Carissa? Ms. Conlon.
Okay, so that's still a 2 and 2. I don't think I'm going to vote in this.
Mayor breaks the tie on
You said, why is it any different than anything else? You look at it as
Don't
I
even-
don't see
before
where
I
it says
can
you
vote.
can't. You look at it, you want to vote for anything else. I think just make you mad about it.
He used to be my kids.
I don't see where you're exempt from, I mean, quite frankly, this could be really much worse than what they did. I mean, here's the thing, even if you somehow didn't have to do that, you're gonna have to submit the name or names, and as you alluded to, odds are he's gonna go to the top of the list. So,
All right. Let's choose this for Maddox. Mary, I really, really, really appreciate you signing up. Hopefully, we have this much interest in another year and a half when it comes to the open election. This is just an appointment until the next general election, which will be in November of next year. So, Ron, if you wouldn't mind, I have to swear you in. And then you can take your seat.
What about the folks who get sitting right here?
Put him in a chair.
I'm going to cheat with this one.
Oh, okay. I see.
All right, raise your right hand. I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Kentucky, and be faithful and true to the Commonwealth of Kentucky, so long as I continue a citizen thereof. And I will faithfully execute to the best of my ability the office of councilperson according to law, and I do further solemnly swear that since the adoption of the present Constitution, I, being a citizen of the state, have not fought a duel with deadly weapons within the state, nor out of it, nor have I thenceforth accepted a challenge to fight a duel with deadly weapons, nor have I acted as a second in carrying a challenge, nor aided or assisted any person thus offending, so help me God. Thanks.
Did that come from the 1700s? I mean, that's when Bill, I mean, I'm being serious, that's when Bill was in.
Every elected official, law enforcement,
1792?
police officer, firefighter, EMT, has to take this very same oath. You can only be sworn in one position at any one time. So you haven't been sworn anywhere else, so we feel that every single time. It's like I said, it hasn't been updated since the 1700s.
I like it. The dueling's cool.
All right. All right. We will jump back to reports now. Chief Smith, you mind starting us off and getting us back on track?
Back on track?
Our reports for the month.
Okay. For the month of July, we made 159 responses. We're seeing our numbers go down a little bit on the drug overdoses and stuff with some drug raids and stuff they had. The crews have been going out and doing some housing testing and stuff. McDonald's and Arby's and different places are called, want some numbers and stuff. We work with the water department and get numbers and stuff for them for their numbers that they need for what they have to do. So we start rotating. You may see other trucks driving around if you haven't seen driving around. We're doing a monthly rotation on the trucks. So the truck that's been at Crittenden for the last couple of months back in town, put some miles on it. So, would that be any questions?
Any big questions for Chief
I do.
Smith?
You about to follow up, you said you want to follow up with Wednesday?
Did you
Yes.
find out any more information on that?
Information I found out was that they let a person go because of filling hydrants not in their area. Pools. Yes. They are hydrants.
But we, last meeting, we discussed about who we're going to do it.
I did try to find out what the pool size was. I don't think were we able to find out how many gallons it was.
Somebody said about 4,000 gallons, but they thought it wasn't very large. That's what I was told.
If you want, we can submit a bill to Williamstown Fire Department for 4,000 gallons of water use.
Maybe you think there's something in it.
Well, we're eating it.
Is that a motion?
Yeah.
They stole the water.
Is there a second to that motion?
Yeah, tell me,
Second by Jim.
The value's $9,000.
Show of hands. Is that?
Hey, what the other?
The Department of Fire takes donations to do that, to help with their kitties, we'll say, to put waters in their trucks, like bottled water. If they have cookouts, that kind of stuff for hamburgers and hot dogs and stuff like that, to try to have less money for their back up this, so that's what they do.
I know, but they got on,
Right.
our water hydrant.
Right, they do.
Hey, you don't know who did this?
I just didn't think we had to do this.
You know who did it?
No, I agree. We shouldn't. I think whoever the member was paid the ultimate price when we lost the job.
Yep.
Okay. Just to bring everybody up to speed, there was an incident when one of the resident of the city inquired about why a Williamstown fire truck was on Kings Heights, hooked to one of the hydrants in the city limits. When we did follow up on it and get a little bit more information, we had found out that the Williamstown Fire Department had sent a crew down, or a crew had come down using a Williamstown fire truck to fill a pool for a charge to a resident in the city limits, and then hook to the city hydrant to take the water, to fill the pool. So, as you know, every drop of water that comes into the city is metered and we have to pay for that. Which brought up the question, who actually paid for that? Well, everyone that lives in City of Dry Ridge paid to have that pool filled. And then that person paid Williamstown Fire Department, or gave them a donation of $100. So that's what this was about. But we've subsequently figured out who it was, found out that that person with Williamstown did lose their job over it, and then we will be sending them a bill for 4,000 gallons of water at our commercial one. That should bring everybody up to speed on it. Is there any questions? I know a lot of people weren't here for the last meeting. That helped. You were just at surgery, so you know how you All right, anything else for Chief Smith?
I guess they will.
All right, Chief Kells.
On the board there, you'll see the June 2017 statistics, calls for service.
This is June's numbers. July's numbers weren't. We didn't have those numbers from post yet.
No, we couldn't get those this time.
Any questions for Chief Kells?
On both of these, the fire and police, not a single reference related to firearms-related incident anywhere? As many buildings as there are in the city?
No.
No.
They got them all educated good. They know better.
All right, no further questions, we'll move on. All right, Water Department. There's a couple things on the list. Jamie, I'll kind of let you go through this list and talk about each of those.
Well, I discovered a water leak up our food line, and when the meter was turned off, evidently somebody come in there and turned it back on, and there was a leak. And Rob knows more about it than I do, because I've been off for a couple of weeks and I hadn't talked to him. But they got the water turned back off, and that should be taken care of.
I'll help you out a little bit since you were off. You were on vacation. Sorry, I didn't mean to throw you that one. There was a citizen that was walking, and they saw some water coming out of the side of the building down there, food line in the city. We had sent Rob down to take a look at it, and I actually went down too. We found it was coming out of around a spigot on the front of the building. If you remember, when it was a store there, on the left-hand side of the building was like the Pepsi machines and stuff like that. So it was on that side. But once we started looking at it, it wasn't coming out from around it. It was coming out from above the faucet. So we knew it wasn't leaking out of the faucet itself. And Rob opened up the pit, checked what the meter was. The meter showed movement on it, which means it was running. So we wrote those numbers down. It was probably 9:30, 10 o'clock that morning. We wrote those numbers down while we were working on trying to get it turned off. About 3 o'clock that afternoon, we went back and checked the meter again, so we had a calculation of about how much water was going through it over a 5-hour period. Did get it shut completely off, so the flow stopped on it. Went back the next morning, checked the flow again, make sure it was off, and it's been checked a couple of times since then to make sure that it's not flowing. But it's a big enough leak that we'll know for sure on the October billing period, because the way when we found this leak, it was kind of in the middle of our billing cycle. So some of the leak was in one billing cycle, some of it's in another, so it's kind of hard to tell. But the first full billing cycle that we get will come out in October. But we're thinking right now it was a leak probably around 100,000 gallons a month. So that's a pretty substantial leak. And honestly, the only thing that we could figure is that it was going down the drain into the sewer. Couldn't find anything. We met with the property owners that next morning, Rob and I went down, we walked through the building, there was nothing wet inside the building, so it had to be hitting the drain and going down the sewer system or somewhere. So we may actually see $100,000 less on the sewer as well. That kind of, Jamie's been off for 2 weeks, so we got to catch up just a little bit this morning. I'll let you take back over with the master meter.
I had a 6-inch master meter on the east side of town coming from Williamstown. They tested it 3 weeks ago and it's failing pretty bad, and they're going to try to get that replaced in the next week or so. And 10 tapped highway water report come back good.
Look at it for I didn't get a chance to talk to you about that. We put this list on here today. We found that the hydrant was out of service at Blackburn. We just wanted to go ahead and start getting the list made of these, and there were some other ones that we just wanted to kind of get out there. We were having issues with a couple hydrants, so basically we're going to start addressing this in the next couple of weeks to look at these. The fire hydrant in Blackburn Lane has the hydrant itself has some kind of a problem, so they're coming up with a plan to address it. All right, anybody have any questions for Jamie? Jamie, do you have anything you need to add?
That's about good.
We move along to the sewer department. Ken?
We're just performing daily maintenance like we normally do back there in the sewer. We've got cost estimates in on repairing the Walmart lift station that's the council's aware of. We were waiting on the new budget to come through, and those numbers have come in. The cradle system that holds the pump inside there is deteriorating, and these numbers are going to reflect somebody coming in and replacing that cradle system. I think the total cost on it was $28.50. That's if they're here doing another job that we're looking at upgrading. If not, then we'll have to add the $3,200 for them to do that job separately.
Is that in addition, or does that make the price $3,200 instead of $28?
That's in addition, because they'd be making a separate trip to perform that work. If we're looking at doing a combined repair with our high school and the old high school and the new high school, then the pumping systems that they use would already be in place and would be quite a bit cheaper to do that, and they'd already have the labor here as well. We wouldn't have to address them coming on a separate time. The new high school out here, with the addition that they put on there, we are seeing quite a bit of debris as well as other things that are coming through the system out there that are causing a lot of headaches with the pumping of it. We're spending quite a bit of money and time out there maintaining this station. So we've come up with an estimate here on some chopper pumps that would actually grind everything that they're, obviously we can't get them to stop putting it in there, so we're going to have to address grinding it up and getting rid of it. So we looked at the cost of 2 chopper pumps to grind this stuff up into 1/4-inch pieces and prevent it from clogging, and actually moving it on down in that way. So we're not spending so much maintenance time and materials out there pumping and cleaning that. So with these pumps here, are recommended for prisons and school systems and things like that, which probably should have been installed in the first place, but they weren't. But these will grind up any kind of debris that they put in there and hopefully eliminate a lot of maintenance issues. So the cost of that job with the pumps and the new panel was $21,600. That's for 2 pumps. And the existing infrastructure that they have in place would handle these pumps.
Rails and.
The rails and the cradles and everything would fine. It'd just be a matter of slipping those pumps down in there and upgrading the panel box.
Ken, is that, I don't mean to throw you under the bus, so to speak, Scott. Is that something that we should cost share with the school? Is the bulk of the majority of that?
Everything that goes into that station comes out of the high school, yes. The high school, the city adopted that station years ago when we had planned to make the Heartland addition on down Warsaw Road. And we left that station available so we could intercept that flow and pump it on over to the Gibson area. But with the new addition to the building, that's pretty much null and voided that plan. So it is an isolated station dedicated just to the school system now. That we pay in the electric on, the maintenance, and the upkeep. I don't have the numbers that we spent over last year, but they're pretty substantial in cleaning and maintenance of the station.
Is it coming from like the vocational school part?
We've seen quite a bit of additional stuff, shop towels. Of course, you get the skull cans and the cell phones and things of that nature all the time. But we're seeing an excessive amount of shop towels and unrelated sewer items that should be in there.
Have you discussed it with the principal? Or Mr. Morgan?
Well, we plan to do that. We have addressed the school system and asked them not to put that stuff in there. But apparently the cleaning crew or probably some of the kids are trying to maybe stop it up or whatever, but we're still seeing a problem. The other cost estimate is on the old high school up here at the end of town, just before it goes to Williamstown. With the addition that we're doing behind Walmart, we're going to need to upgrade that station up there to handle the flow. We're going to have to go to a bigger, larger horsepower pumping system to accommodate some 15 to 16,000 gallons a day additional flow from the motel that's going in, and possibly whatever may be built in the future. So the cost of upgrading that station up there to accommodate the additional flow, turnkey operation is $65,045. You can eliminate the OmniSay because it's already installed up there. So that total would come to $65,45 even.
Will that pump handle what's anticipated once that hotel gets in, or does that allow for expansion?
This number will accommodate what is being built now.
Okay.
Future growth on that street, we would just have to upsize the impellers. So the pump would not have to be changed out again. We just upsize the impellers to handle that flow. On the motel, I'm not sure if you're aware of it, we're talking 79 rooms. Plus cleaning of the laundry, the linen and everything, we're probably looking at an additional $15,000 daily.
Well, that's just for the one motel, right?
That's just for the one motel.
So,
but anything that we add additional to that, we just upsize our impellers. But this upgrade here will handle this motel that we're building now.
How much cost is it to put the impellers in?
The impellers are generally about $3,000.
a piece or total?
Put the big ones on?
A piece. So it'll be $6,000 for a duplex pump.
Can you put the big ones on?
Well, this is designed to handle everything that that we're thinking of coming in, you know,
Even-
that we might go in there.
Are you talking about when that's completed?
Yeah.
This,
Yeah, these here will handle everything,
when this is completed?
but everything will have to be intercepted at the Bellevue pump station, so those are the impellers that will upgrade.
Okay.
The ones that are down there now will handle this flow, but if we have, say we get 5 motels, then we'll have to upgrade the impellers at Meadowview. These will handle it. Okay?
These are just in reports tonight, we're not going to take any actions on them, we just want to keep everybody up to speed and where we're going at. And then also adding the generator to the old high school location. That's our last point for Leeds City. We have a generator in Meadowview.
We do. We have 2 different power companies. Meadowview is on Duke. The old high school up there is on Williamstown. So in the event that we have a power failure at either one, then we need a backup generator to handle it, to start up and pump that so it doesn't run out in the road up there, to be honest with you.
There used to be a generator there, it was just,
They did, but it,
it went out of service several years ago, so it's just being replaced. Whatever one now. All right, anything else for Ken? Thank you, Ken, appreciate it. All right, road department, Barry?
These sections of sidewalk are on Warsaw Road across from the reuse center, and as you can see, it's pretty bad shape. That could be a liability for us if someone's walking along and happens to fall and break a leg. You can see the sections are one's higher than the other. Want to put that on future projects to fix that, keep that taken care of. It's worse than it looks in the picture. Well, I know at the reuse center, this is before I started working up here, I would see tractor trailers backing in there, and then in the process of backing in there, they would be in that guy's yard, Jerry Petito's yard, backing across the sidewalk. Now, they just have box trucks coming in there as far as I know.
This is in the existing section of sidewalk on Warsaw Road, but the new section has that in
Right. And then Business Boulevard, talking about restriping it, there was a problem with Dana parking the trailers on the sides of the road, but I found out that they were working on the parking lot, and they had the whole road on both sides lined up with trailers, but looking at doing the double yellow line all the way back up the center, and then the white lines on the side. The arrows cannot be repainted. They're made out of a certain type of plastic, and paint will not adhere to them. Which they're better than they look in the picture, but I called 3 people. One gave me a quote. Only one has given me a quote, $1,700 to redo it, which I felt was a little on the high side. But I've got another contractor that I want to come out and look at it and give me a quote on it. I feel it can be done a lot cheaper.
What about striping Ferguson? There's nothing going down that road.
Well, I mean, if you want to stripe it, we can have some money to do also.
You might need to with the added traffic that's going to be on that street in the next year.
Yeah, that would be something we want to do after your job is complete like that. This is Blackburn Lane, portion from McDonald's. That's just one spot. It's pretty rough throughout there. And we had talked about fixing those areas. We're doing it when their construction is pretty much complete. There's no sense in going in there fixing it now with concrete trucks running in and out. You're just wasting your time and money. But that's on the agenda also to look at that, take care of that. This next picture is McCoy Lane. The ditch along the road there is about 3.5, maybe 4 feet deep in some spots, and it's probably about 40 feet long. There's a section of guardrail you can see right in front of the van there on the right. But that ditch needs to be filled up with channel lining. Some people have run into it in the past. They've run over the guardrail, and me and Ken put the guardrail back up. But that ditch is pretty deep, and it's something that I want to get taken care of, is filling that in with channel lining to prevent anybody from running in it. At least if they do run off the road, they're going to drive on top of the lining and not run in the ditch. And this sign here is at Claire Jean and Blackburn. It's easier if you pull up to the stop sign coming up Claire Jean and Blackburn. That Microtel sign is it's a blind spot. You can't see the traffic coming from the La Rosa's area. And I don't know what we have to do about asking them to possibly relocate that to another spot, but it's in a bad spot. Yeah, the curb's broken all the way down through there. And that's just a few of the road projects that should have been another one on there. The storm drain at Judith and Crawford. It may not seem through.
Remind me why it's in there.
That's fine.
Anything else?
Not at this time, but I'm constantly driving around finding things. It's just, I have to prioritize what's most important first. Hogan's Mill and Brentwood, they will probably need repaving within the near future. Brentwood has a lot of traffic on it. It's got a lot of bad spots in it. Hogan's Mill as well. And that would be a full resurfacing where they would mill both sides of the whole street down.
I thought they were doing sections of Hogan's Mill.
No.
He's talking about Brentwood.
Yeah.
He just said Hogan's Mill.
Hogan's Mill and Brentwood. They're both bad.
I thought we were doing sections of Hogan's
Yeah,
Mill.
there's other sections of Hogan's.
It's marked with that.
Yeah. And but they need, Brentwood really needs attention.
Anything else? Creek Road, moving on to planning and zoning. We'll have more on this coming up. There's an application into Grant County Planning and Zoning to change the section of the back end of Brentwood back to R3. In 2007, it was changed to neighborhood commercial as part of the 111 project, which actually went defunct and never got built. But the plan was to develop the back side of Brentwood back to the interstate commercially. There's no way to do that now because they were going to bring in a bridge, and there's actually hotels that are being built now where that bridge was supposed to be. So there's no way to do the original plan. So there's no way to get to the commercial area without going through residential areas. So they approved that. We have to wait for them to approve their minutes. So you'll probably see that at the next meeting and come back to you for look at. Let's see, we'll skip on down. There's a couple things. I'm not going to go into detail. We spent a lot of time on some stuff. There's a couple letters in here about the North Kentucky University scholarship. Some letters and some cards. There's the profit and loss statements from the general account, the road aid, utility accounts for fiscal year 17. That would be the ending profit and losses for last year's budget. The 18 would be the budget that we're in right now. think, Amy, we're starting on the audit
In
October.
Yes, middle of October.
We should have that audit done and completed and back to council by December. We could go through these if you want to, or you can leisurely scroll through all the financial reports. If you want to go through these.
And your P&Ls on 17s are still subject to change because I have through the end of September to get all bills in for that fiscal year. So these numbers are as of today. So there can always be something that's still coming in.
Did anybody want to go through those?
The Indian Utility Fund, we were talking about the pump station upgrades. Is that, did we get that in the budget?
We budgeted for repairs. I'll scroll down to it. This isn't the actual budget. There is a line items for maintenance and repairs. There's $35,000 that's sitting in the maintenance and repairs line item. Yeah, that line item is primarily designed to fix stuff as it breaks, not to replace things, major projects. The maintenance or repair would be to repair pumps as they fail, stuff like that. That's how that number is actually generated.
So how are we gonna pay for that? Out of what you can?
They have to come out of utilities.
I know that.
We would, if we take on those projects, the reason why we're looking at all of those projects right now is to try and prioritize and see what we want to do before we come back with a recommendation. Might be something we have to do a budget amendment to do those. Like I said, we could, if you want to go through those P&L, we can start. If not, we'll move on into new business. Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Rocky Ridge. Chris?
I know last year, around October, we sort of was filling out entertainment. And I know we're probably going to do the same this year if we're going to continue Rocking the Ridge. But I would advise looking for sponsor first, and have the contract signed before entertainment.
Alright.
Just because I don't want to go through anything like we have to.
We haven't scheduled a committee meeting. We probably need to do that. Probably a lot easier to discuss that in committee, so we can start working on having some of those things out. Do you want to get that going? You ready to get that going?
I'm ready to get that going, but my main concern is finding a sponsor first and everything else.
No, I agree.
How much you want to sponsor?
$1 million.
I'm sorry?
How much do you want to sponsor?
Let me work the beer. I'll take care of the beer that night, but no.
Anything else on that?
It's just I'm really concerned about that.
Well, let's go ahead and start. Let's get the committee back together, or any other interested people who might want to serve on that committee. Joni was on that committee, so we need to replace her. Someone else, so we're going to get that together.
Ms. Connell would like to do that. She volunteered back?
It's fine.
There you go. All right. Susan. Sorry it's taking so long to get to you.
All right. Can we just address you from here? Sure. I wanted to come and thank the City of Dry Ridge for allowing us, the library and the Grant County Schools Food Department, to use Hill Park this year for our we call it Fueling the Mind program. And for several years previous, we have kind of changed it up of different stations throughout the county. Let me back up. For a lot of you all here, you may not know about the program we do. It's called Fueling the Mind, and we've been working in partnership with the Grant County Schools for a number of years in providing both a free lunch for children 18 and younger, and then so that's the school's part. And our part is to get books into the hands of kids during the summer months when they don't have transportation to the library or they're not going to school on a regular basis. And we get them a library card, and we do a short program as well. So this year we decided to change it up a little bit and came in and asked if we could use Piddle Park, because we thought it's such a beautiful park and very central to everybody in Dry Ridge that it would be a good place. And it got off kind of a rough start. We had very, very low attendance for the first several weeks, probably for the first month in June. And by the end of the summer, we were having 27 kids and their parents. So that was very good. One of the higher amount of children coming to the park. We did have a few issues that Kim was aware of. Wouldn't want to go into that. Got a drug problem down there. And our parents and my two workers, we watched it happen. Drug exchanges were happening. A child brought up a hypodermic needle. That parent, got through it, and we were afraid that she would not bring her children back. But the general attitude of the parents, and I got to give them some chops. They said they are not going to chase us out, and we're going to tell more parents to come down here. And I think that's probably what the word spread, that more families would welcome them. But there is definitely a drug problem. But I just wanted to say thank you for letting us use the park. I think next year it's going to be even bigger attendance. Over the whole county, this year we did 5 locations. We served over 5,000 meals. That's good.
Well, thank you for putting that program together. We really appreciate it. And I know the kids that participated. Hopefully that wasn't the only meal they got, but they know they got at least that one on their back. Okay, thank you very much. All right. Item number 2 is just the 12 Ridgeview Circle. It's a short-term vacation rental property. There's a lot of residents here in Ridgeview Circle in the neighborhood. I want to afford everyone who wants to speak. Let me just start out with a couple things that I've got here. There is some maps and deed restrictions. All of you all know what we're talking about. And I think council's been in the loop on everything. I've been trying to keep you as up to speed on this as possible. I've had a lot of conversations with a lot of different people. Pete and I have had multiple conversations. And I did talk with Mr. McDonald. This is an email that I received from him kind of explaining what was going on. I'm not sure if this email was also presented to the residents. I know he sent me a letter.
No.
Okay. He actually answered my questions in this email. I'll give you a second to kind of read through this. Like I said, since this is the first time you're seeing it.
Yeah, too far. I'm not just gonna read that
This was the second email that I got back. This was in response to an email that he originally sent me, just kind of explaining the situation that happened on the 21st. I'm sorry I didn't have that one. I can dig that one up if you want to read that. And then I just replied back to him that we were having this meeting tonight, and that I had instructed a lot of folks and asked the fire chief to look into the occupancies, asked the police department to look at the parking registration. There's a lot of different things, a lot of code enforcement things that we were looking at. We were looking at some of the ordinances, the legal aspects of it. Some of the things we were looking at is how far can the city go in enforcing the deed restrictions as opposed to ordinances and things like that. And I think we've all come to the same conclusion that the city can enforce ordinance, but the city's really not in a position to enforce deed restrictions. However, after reading this letter and the conversation with Mr. McDonald, that he's willing to stop using the vacation house and make it lost. He had also asked that he be continued to use the house for, I think it was the 3 remaining parties that he had booked. Five, sorry. And so I guess you guys know all this. And my response was that wasn't going to be a decision for the city. That was a decision for the residents. If the residents wanted you to be, to not enforce, or let you have a mulligan, so to speak, on the deed restrictions and continue to finish those 5, that would really have to be there. So I kind of open up the floor here. There's a couple other things. I did talk with the attorney, Tom Nienaber. He's the attorney for Marion County Planning and Zoning. I asked him about this very specific problem. Showed him pictures of the bus, told him about the occupancy in the house. And, we looked at a house that was 1,700 square feet that was being advertised for occupancy of 21 people, and we were both scratching our heads trying to figure that out. I asked him to look into it and give me his recommendation. This is the recommendation from the county's planning and zoning attorney, Mr. Nienaber. I'll give you a second to look at that. Yes, ma'am. Tell me when to stop. I don't want to overscan it.
There goes Miss Asphalt. People in there.
ready to move up? Okay. Ready to keep moving? You done, lady? I'm done. That was pretty much it. You all should have all received this letter. He indicated to me he sent this letter to each of the residents. Okay. And then there is a copy of deed restrictions. And at this time, I'll kind of turn the floor over. Scott, do you want to kick it off?
I do. Thank you for allowing us to speak, and thank to each one of you council members. I know what a hard job that you have. I've been in those thankless positions, and I know that's what it is for you all, so I appreciate the job that you do in service to our community. Also, while I'm here, I want to thank your maintenance folks. They do a great job. I've been around them quite a bit, and they do a great job for the city of Dry Ridge, and as a resident, very proud to have them on staff and taking care of our city. What I'd first like to say is I'm here for two reasons. The first reason is that I think we all know that per the deed restrictions that they are not allowed to be able to rent this home as a short-term rental in our subdivision. So with that, I'm here tonight to ask the council to direct the mayor to pull their business license that they have with the city. It says specifically that there shall be no businesses in the subdivision, and it's a single-family residence. So I would ask you to pull that business license. I would also say along with that, I'm not in favor for them to have 5 more rentals. And the reason is his one letter where he said, we are still going to have family and friends that's going to stay until we sell the property. We know that's what's going to happen. We know that as soon as they stop or whatever, the next group that comes in, is going to be our family or it's going to be our friends. So that's why we're asking you to go ahead and pull those business licenses from them. The second thing that I want to talk about is I live next to this house. And a lot of times in my job, what I do is I make a lot of decisions. And when I make those decisions, a lot of times I get down the road 2 months, 4 months, 6 months, a year, and think, well, maybe I didn't think everything through about that decision. So I need to relook at that. I would ask this council to relook at their adopting the ordinance of having short-term rentals in residential 1 neighborhoods. That's not the place for it. We have small children on our street that's riding their bikes. We have teenagers that's walking the streets. We have residents that are walking the streets. When you get 8, 10 cars parked in the driveway and parked out on the street, what that causes is people to zigzag through your subdivision. And I personally sat there and watched 2 of our children who were on bikes when we had an Amish country or Amish folks in there that had 7 15-passenger vans there. Now this house was supposed to be rented for 21 people. There were over 30 people in that house for that weekend. And so this was it right here where the vans were parked. And we had 2 children that were riding their bikes on the street, and they came down and the cars zigzagged through there. There's no way they could see those children on the other side of that car. So that's one reason why I think that you should relook at the issue of having short-term rentals in the R1 neighborhoods. I'll tell you some of the things that Sherry and I have had happen to us through all of this. We've had people come to our door when we were in bed, wanting to know where the house is to rent. Okay? We're very early risers. We go to bed very, very early. We've had people park in our yard because of the parking there. We have had, one time we look up and there's 13 kids outside playing. Now, to their credit, if I'm on vacation and I have young kids, they're not going to be quiet, so it's a nuisance. So then you come into the nuisance factor of that. So those are just some things that I would like for you to think about. And for those of you who live in subdivisions in the city, I'd like for you to think, how would you like for that to move in next to you? What's that going to do to our property value in residential 1 neighborhoods? You get someone who can come in that can buy 4 or 5 houses. What's that going to do to our property values for our homes there? Not to mention the most important thing is the safety, because we don't know who's coming into our subdivisions. And so that's the 2 things that I would ask you to do is number 1 is to pull their business license because they shouldn't have a business in our subdivision. And number 2 is to relook at your ordinance that you passed as city council to have short-term rentals in residential neighborhoods. So I thank you very much for letting me speak.
Thank you. Clark?
He's as long-winded as I am. He must be a chip off the block. 60 years council there, Mr. Maddox. 60 years. The buck stops here.
60 years ago,
I've sat in your place a number of years.
60 years ago, Glenn.
Can remember.
60 years ago, me and you said we were together.
How long?
60.
We've been here a good while. We put a lot in place.
I just wanted to remind you.
That for you all, and that's probably one of the reasons that the city is doing what it's doing is because of the things that we brought and put into place. I have served on the Planning and Zoning Commission from the original time it was organized. I served as chairman for a number of years, more than I would like to remember. And don't remember. I would like to say that planning and zoning is very, very important. Please do not destroy what you have built. We've got a lot of things to be proud of in this city. We've got a fine fire department. We've got a fine emergency system. We've got things to be proud of here. So let's do not tear down some of the good things that we have. I would like to reiterate that we would also like to see the city pull that business license. It's pretty well established that he is in the wrong. Now, he's pleaded a lot of ignorance in his letter to us. So I pulled his deed. The foregoing property is sold subject to the terms and conditions to a certain deed of restrictions in Deed Book 179, page 117. Now, if a man can't find these, look at the restrictions when he buys something, something's wrong. I don't know whether we should let him continue with these 5 rentals or not. That's not our problem. That's his problem. We didn't get into that he got into that. And if they think they can get away with that, you all can't get them, but we'll sure get on them. You can bet that. Now, we want to be neighbors to them. They've said they want to be neighbors to them, to us, and we will be neighbors to them. And if they don't like the deed restrictions, go someplace else. And if this happens on Wilhorn Drive or on Newdale Drive, you're going to have more people up to this city council. I can assure you that. Those people are not going to stand for, you can call it business or bed and breakfast. I don't think you called it a bed and breakfast, did you?
No, not in the city.
Not in this particular ordinance. I think it was just short-term rental. So a long time ago, we put these restrictions in place so that the people that bought there could live there, and it specifically states in there, no trade or business shall be conducted there. I would like for you all to consider licking that cat again to that particular ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. Anyone else? Right ahead.
Again, thank you for listening to us. I moved to that subdivision about 20 years ago. I moved there to raise my kids. I know my neighbors. I know I can depend on my neighbors. But in the past year, we had problems. I asked the people that own that if they in any way screened the people that were staying in that residence short term. They said they talked to them a couple of times on the phone. If you watch the news, you know that there are all kinds of surprises with people that come into the subdivision. We could have criminals, we could have pedophiles, we could have drugs. I value where I live. I retire there. I raise my grandchildren there. They are on the streets. And with other people walking up and down the street that I do not know, I'm very concerned. And I'm sure that if you have other people that are in the same situation, you're going to have good citizens that support Dry Ridge, support the community, that are going to be looking elsewhere to live. I don't want that. I love my subdivision. I want to raise my grandchildren there. I want to keep my neighbors. I ask you, please revoke that license before there's an incident that happens that this council's going to have to deal with. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much. Anyone else?
Sure. First, just echo what everyone said. Please consider revoking the license. And again, I understand that, by the way, I live next door to that property on the other side of Scott. I'm actually closer to that property than you are. As a council, all I'm asking is that as you draft new rules, regulations for this activity to take place in Dry Ridge, please draft them in such a manner that doesn't allow the person to live up to the letter of the law or violate the spirit of the rules. Sure, it's just a bed and breakfast in Dry Ridge, but again, the process for the people to come in. I understand that whether they get to live out to their commitment for the next 5 is not up to you, it's up to us, and I think all of us here understand that, and we'll deal with that separately. But I have the same concerns that everyone has here. We don't have any small children, but there's a lot of children that live in this subdivision. On the day that that bus pulled in, I actually went to Scott Shepherd's house, put him in my truck, drove him over, showed him the bus, and on that trip over, which was very slow, I asked him, do you know who they are? He did not. So do you know how many they are? So there was some dispute whether there were 21, 24, 27 people that got off that bus. Do you know if any of them have a criminal record? And the answer to that was no. And so did any of them bring any weapons I should be concerned about? I live 10 feet from this property. And again, the answer was no. So again, this issue I think is going to be resolved basically because there's some deep restrictions, but please consider other subdivisions and other facilities in Dry Ridge where this can happen to them because we drafted very liberal regulations.
Jamie, is there any other businesses, is there any other places in the city, R1, that is doing this, that we know of, that they've got a business license?
We have, Brent, do you have, I know, Denver, I don't know where all the zones are, so I apologize that I can't be very specific in R1. I think we only have 3 or 4 that are, the only one that I know of that is actually a short-term rental is next door. And I don't think so either. The only other places that I'm aware of, we have Red Bull, like when they actually just rent to a resident on a full-time basis, not as
But they don't have
a short.
Is there a business license?
There is a business license if you have a rental property, yes. But to my knowledge, and let you help me if you remember seeing any of them come in, I can't remember any other short-term rentals besides this one, the
And that
prickly
does
pear.
fall in R1.
Oh, is this considered
Yeah.
R1? Okay. Because I know that it's the
There's a kitty dome.
Church Street.
Central business.
And I know that's the intent of the yellow.
Church Street's are too.
To be announced.
Church Street to us, the city dome, is residential one. So
Just a section of the park.
Look, you see, my other question was, is that says no businesses out there, does that include rental property as a business?
No, it said, well, I thought it said restrictions, that it said something about, if it's for a resident. That's a fine
This-
line when you
this is
rent to a person. And I think that as, the residents on that street, it depends on how far you want to push that, issue, because that is a very fine line. You know, if you have rental property, are you conducting a business or are you renting as a resident? That's a fine line that, I could see to go either way.
Long-term resident.
Yes, a long-term resident. Right.
Answer your question.
We as the city have to require a business license for that because it is income coming in.
City Hall is there, that white spot.
I didn't take that. I thought that was how it was and all this.
To my knowledge, that is the only other one besides this one that was classified as a short.
Okay. Jamie's saying the map hasn't been updated.
Is this the only place?
Difference is bringing in a school bus for the gas school. I mean, that's a no-brainer.
We were just looking at the only other one that we know, which was two houses.
There's 2 houses right over here.
That's right.
The blue one and the yellow one, they were purchased and rehabbed.
They go after these out here.
No, it's not. But if you look at an R1, you leave that out of R1,
Jamie said the map.
and then we have to deal with this issue, and that was just
That's right. I
I
checked
don't
the
know, my
others.
child was one of the ones that could have been hit that night, along with their grandchild, and they just,
I think it's pretty obvious that the residents don't want the city to allow them to keep their license. And that is certainly something that the city can do, revoke that license. That's not a question. As far as the legalities of enforcing the deed restrictions, that's not something the city can do, that you guys can do. But if we revoke the business license, they wouldn't be able to do their 500 chores.
That's what we, and that's what we want, you to revoke the effective immediately.
because the last time they said it was their family staying there, the one picture clearly indicated that that was a very large family they had. That was 8 15-passenger cars and a family of 27.
Jamie, is that R1?
Yeah.
My only concern is, I don't want it to be, I don't mind pulling the license, but
if Mr. McDonald, is what John's name, if he finds out that we revoked his license in R1 and we didn't revoke these two licenses in R1, then you could have a discrimination thing going on.
Well, I think the difference there, Kenny, would be that it doesn't conform with the subdivision regulations.
Okay, that's just what I'm concerned about.
That would help, that's how we would have to make our decision. And for that, I think we could certainly do that.
Well, I think whatever we decide, we need to go ahead and do it. Because I
Well, they had
agree.
people there this weekend. Not nearly, there were people there this weekend. After,
Is that
after they
fine?
said
After they received the letter.
That's the
They
thing, we
sent
don't
the letter.
know if it's part of the file, because
There were 3 vehicles.
So how long has this been going on?
since March.
Actually,
Well, longer than March.
I actually researched it, I saw, back in October of 2016, they started, I think, in the fall.
But it was like,
It's a no-brainer.
right, because back in October, we still didn't notice it until
Because they only had 2
March.
When they have the dance, somebody may have.
That was spring break.
And he did say that they had 2 rentals where they were renting the whole house again.
If you look at the very bottom line, this is the first email that he sent.
Huh? What do you think?
It's this bottom one here.
I know, I'm asking your
It
opinion.
says down here in the
What do you
bottom, it
think?
says we're in the process of,
Code enforcement here?
we have 3 families in August, 1 in October, and 1 in November.
Bullshit. That's what you think. Huh? What do you think? You got a lot of common sense. You tell me.
When they started back in October,
I don't want to hear.
the basement was.
Talking about out there. Out there? I wouldn't put up with it either. Yeah, exactly. It's a no-brainer. Get rid of it, be done with it. It's common sense.
We started
Well,
small.
there are deed restrictions on that subdivision. They're specific, you cut and dry, that's a no-brainer. I mean, their deed restrictions alone nullify that. I mean, it's, well, this is a no-brainer. I mean, I don't live there. I mean,
It is, it's a no-brainer.
it's a no-brainer. I mean, the deed restrictions speak for themselves. I mean, it is what it is. Get rid of it. I mean, nobody here would want a tour bus, you know, and the thing that struck me the most is what Scott was talking about, how they're parked out there and the little kids come down there on the bike. It, you know, it can happen like that. We all know that. I mean, ask Rodney or anybody, the policeman, little kids on bikes, then it'd be like, there's nobody to feel worse than, I mean, you all feel bad if something, everybody would feel horrible. But it's a no-brainer. The deed restrictions speak for themselves and they set it up properly to begin with. So, I don't know what the debate's about.
So what he's saying, we can enforce the deed restrictions.
Well, I understand that, but I mean, it's a no-brainer, just take care of it.
But what we can do, Jim, is we can
Revoke the
revoke
license,
the
that's all you
business
have to
license
do.
based on the, that is possible.
What we're asking for is that you revoke the business license because it was issued, you've got simple grounds. It was in violation of the deed restrictions that you were not aware of. And it's come to your attention that the deed restrictions does not allow this, so you have perfect reason to revoke your business license.
Presented under false pretense.
Honest mistake, that, you know, you didn't know it, now you do, let's do the right thing. That's all.
We're gonna stay here until you do.
Assuming you revoke the license and they become aware of the deed restrictions, so
Wait, look.
you handle it 2 different paths.
Yeah, when freak
3
on the
months
bus
from
with
now, this begins
pedophiles,
again.
somebody's
License
grandkid gets scooped up.
Violation, is that an issue for you folks, or is that still an issue for the subdivision to deal with? In other words, we start seeing multiple vehicles now, they're not charging, they're not
Well,
paying.
if it's not licensed, then we would certainly be able to issue, like we would on any business, and immediate stop work order, which would mean they would have to cease operation.
I'm kind of cynical, I just don't think that this is, I just don't see somebody spending $200,000 to buy a house and all of a sudden say, okay, we're done here. I met Mr. McDonald face to face. I felt like I don't want to use the word deceit, but he was not upfront when he was talking to us. We got the impression they were giving him the house. Not that the house was going to be used for that. He said that we would be having this conversation several months ago.
The only thing that I see is yes, the city will enforce, just like what I did with any other business that I saw, is trying to prove the matter of proof that it's not a family member as what they're saying coming. That is the hard part
That's
for
what I see
us
that
to
it becomes
show
really
that
difficult.
you're doing a business and not letting your cousin or your aunt or whoever stay. And that is what's going to be the hard part on the city's portion to enforce our regulations of not conducting a business. It's very easy if I can see somebody selling something. I know you're conducting business. That's a black and white. This is going to be what it is.
Didn't he say that he's already got it rented out for 5 other
Right,
times?
yeah, proof.
Or rented,
Right.
not family, rented out.
I mean, it's in.
He's on a rental
My business
website.
that I know that I'm not supposed to do.
And I agree. If he sees this, I just want to say it is just, that's one of those things that's, just like what you were saying, is you don't know when he's saying that it's family coming, that he's truly not renting. And it's going to be the same
They
thing.
do have family that lives in Texas and family that lives in Michigan that visit quite often.
Yeah, but if you talk to the people that come in, which I did, the bus came from Pennsylvania, and all of the people that were on there were his family. And we asked him, is your family, which is 5 different families under one umbrella, do they all live in the same house? And he said no. So it's not a single residence, it's 5 or 6 residents, and now you're putting them all into one spot. So they were not his family. And is that a fire hazard or anything?
Is this a cult? I mean, everybody's last name Africa, like the people up there in Philadelphia. They had 80 people there in the town, in the row house up there, and everybody's last name was Africa, and they had a big shootout. I mean, that's...
All right, here's what I'm gonna recommend
True.
to you. Of course, you guys can recommend your own thing, or take this as you will.
I mean, that's our latest spirit of the Yeah, this stuff's interesting. That's what's actually simple.
In ordinance 828/2017, which is a business license in order, there is a procedure for revocation, and try not to make people sick again. All right.
Right there, number 1. Scroll right there.
Yeah.
Number 1.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Here's what I'm trying to, where I'm looking. I want to make sure this is done the right way. So before I ask the council to do something, before they make the recommendation to do something, I want to make sure that we're completely clear on how we do it. We just don't revoke the license.
I agree. We don't want to revisit this.
There's still a due process to revoke the license. And that's what I wanted to pull up and make sure we're perfectly clear on that. We do have the power to revoke or suspend license after notice and hearing. And it certainly would meet the grounds of number 1. And 5. Yeah. Okay, so the city council shall hold a hearing on the question of revocation or suspension of any license issued under provision. The mayor shall set a time and place for such hearing, shall notify the affected license owner in writing by certified mail person, so time and place for such hearing not less than 10 days prior to the date set for the hearing. Such written notice shall set forth officially the grounds. Okay. So if we want to do that, we could certainly do that. I just have to notify them by writing and set a hearing date for no later or no earlier than 10 days from tomorrow.
Can I ask a question, just because I don't know? Why can't you use this as the hearing?
Because we have to notify all the parties involved.
He was notified, he denied to come here, correct?
In his letter, he said they wouldn't come for personal reasons and they didn't want to be
Right. If he wasn't notified of suspending the license, revoking the license, he was notified that we were having a meeting to discuss it. So I want to make sure, that's the reason why I went to this section. I want to make sure we did it the right way. We didn't cause more problems. So that's really a decision for the council. If you want to, this is the procedure that we do. If you want to make that recommendation that we revoke that license, we can certainly do that. We'll draft a letter and send it by certified mail.
I'll make a motion to revoke the license.
Is there a second for that? Second by Clay.
Thank
Can I have a roll call, vote, please?
Mr. Clay Crawford?
Yes.
Mr. Kenny Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Jim Lindy?
Yes.
Ms. Chrissy Hewitt? Yes.
Okay. Motion.
Oh, Mr. Madden, I'm sorry. I apologize. You'll have to bear with me for just a moment. I'm sorry, Mr. Madden.
Yes. All right. Hang on. I'll get right to it. Now that is done, we need to set a date. We have a regularly scheduled council meeting in 2 weeks. Do you want to schedule the meeting to be held prior to the council meeting and then move into the council meeting? Or do you want to do it at a separate date and time?
Can we do it at any date and time?
Just has to be 10 days from after he served notice.
After he is served?
Prior to the date set for the hearing,
So that means he's gonna be allowed to do his next 2 rentals?
we could do it for as early as 10 days from tomorrow.
Am I getting drums? I can
But that doesn't hurt him. That's the people that are renting, and that's not his fault.
Well, can we put in the letter to him that until such time as the hearing, all activity at that residence is suspended?
Yes. I think maybe the residents will have to send letters.
That would almost be an automatic revocation of the license.
You're not revoking the license, but what you're
But
saying...
if we stop his business by saying that this is because we've actually revoked the license. I'm with you all, don't get me wrong, but if we don't do this in the correct way, he's gonna slide through on a loophole, and that's not what you all want. You want a final decision, and that's what we're looking at. If we don't do, dot all the I's and cross all the T's, he slides through.
Okay, but it says such written
Thank you, Miss, she's a work
notice
stop order.
specifically the grounds alleged for the revocation or suspension.
It's to be adjusted,
So
doesn't
we're
it?
telling them what it is and shall inform the license holder that the hearing may result in the revocation. So we're telling you that it will not happen, but until such time.
But I think that comes back to you guys. You have deed restrictions.
Right.
Yeah, but he's not done with this.
Not allowed in the first
He's
place.
ignoring those
It wasn't
restrictions
allowed-
right now.
It wasn't allowed in the first place. A
Right,
no
but
is a
I-
no.
If you correct me if I'm wrong, would that not be them now having to
Yeah, I mean,
try to
Right.
enforce that portion beforehand?
I mean, we can enforce it in 10 days, but if you want quicker action, you're gonna have to enforce it. Maybe have an attorney. Mr. Howe is also a developer. I don't know if he's legal counsel.
The issue, of course, you're going to do there is, we're going to have this hearing before you're going to get an injunction. I mean, just as a practical matter, being realistic, you could go see Steve or whoever, and you all may need to do that looking prospectively, because you've indicated a belief that this guy's probably not going to be dissuaded as easily. And it sounds like you may be right. But that being said, as frustrating as it may be, what we're suggesting and having this meeting in 2 weeks is probably the quickest about anything's going to get done. Now, and I'm talking a little out of turn here, but outside of that, and I'll be blunt, if this guy pulls a stunt like he did and put 20 or 30 people in there, I mean, to me, I would suggest to the council that creates an emergency to where either fire code violations, law enforcement, I think we could find something, to couch that under. If there's only a couple of, I don't know, 4 or 5 people staying there, or 6 people, whatever would be reasonable, we probably don't fall into that. But if he pulls another stunt like this, and I say stunt because that's bull,
if he pulls in with
Also,
a
if
tour
there's
bus
21
or...
beds in the residence, the assumption is that we can put 21 people in it.
Yeah, I agree.
But they don't count the little.
There's 21 beds.
And this is where I made the first responders, I mean, the person I would think, right? Chief?
Well, the fire department's only look at any units over 3 units. So any complex built with 3 units or more, what the fire department's looking at. Anything other than that, you could have a 100 square room house that has 500 people in it. They don't care. What's one?
That's the fire.
That's the fire codes in your state, yes. That's what you go by.
The one thing we looked at before we got here, because Jimmy alluded to it, was, you know, what sort of ordinances can we, and I'm going to use the word stretch a little bit to maybe get this to fall within either a nuisance or a public safety issue. And there were some things arguably you probably maybe could get there, but ultimately the deed restrictions, I mean, that's your silver bullet. There's no defending that.
They trump everything.
Right. So I guess what I was trying to get at was, it may be frustrating to hear it's going to be 2 weeks before we can resolve this issue in terms of revoking the license, but I think we're going to see process issues if we don't. That said, if another instance occurs like what happened the other day, I don't want you to feel like there's no help, because I think the city can find a way to try to address that.
I think, what if we approach it this way? If we send the certified mail, but I personally reach out to all him tomorrow and explain the gravity of the situation, and explain to him that the residents don't want to allow the additional file, and that we are going to proceed through with this. If he were to voluntarily cease, would that suffice, so we could do an immediate?
He might, Jim, he might be willing to surrender the license.
That's what I'm
I think that's what
asking.
Jim's saying.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
asking. If I tell him the gravity of the situation, that we're going to.
He talks
suspend it.
like he's trying to cooperate.
Sure.
So it might be, he might do it voluntarily.
You say he's already taken that off the website, that he's not gonna take any more of it.
I mean, we could certainly do it in 10 days. 10 days is without question. 10 days that will be revoked. Well, the hearing to revoke it will happen.
Is the faster way to do it is because he's in gross violation of what the deed restrictions are? Is that the quicker way to do it? I mean, you want to get the work started, but if he's in, what, Pete, you're the attorney, you practice?
We can't enforce their deed restrictions.
All right, how can they enforce that deed restriction quicker than the 10 days?
They can't. I
What do
mean,
you
I'm just telling the truth there. I mean, as much
Okay,
as
I'm
I'd
asking.
like
I don't
to
know.
drum up money for Steve Howe, work for Steve Howe or somebody else.
No, I'm asking, I don't know.
No, you just, you procedurally you can't,
Okay.
you know.
Because you said the deed restrictions trump the city ordinance, so I'm just asking, does that expedite? How do you expedite that above the ordinance?
There's still a due process.
Right, I mean, they would still have to file.
Okay.
And, I mean, put it on a much less serious basis. I actually did one of these for Bill Wilson a few years ago in one of his subdivisions, not in driver ditch, that they're putting pools in, above ground pools, which is a common restriction.
Yeah.
Okay, and Bill still owned property in the neighborhood, of course, so we used that to, we had to unfortunately file suit. Now, there wasn't obviously the sense of urgency that these folks have, but I mean, we still had to file suit, get the person served, did their 20 days to file a response. You can get emergency injunctions, but I'm telling you the bar is extremely high. Not something bad could happen, which everybody agrees with that.
Yeah.
It is almost an almost certainty that something bad's going to happen, unless the court takes extraordinary. Because again, remember, at the end of the day, and I know it sounds a little hokey sometimes, but you're taking away people's due process rights. If you're saying, okay, you can't do this, and you can't do this now without an opportunity really to be heard at a time to.
Well, I think a tour bus full of 50 people speaks for itself, and you got pictures.
I agree with you. I told you what I thought of that. So.
Well,
You know, that's the other thing.
that's the
There's a tendency around here sometimes to do things half-cocked just to get it done, and that doesn't always work out in the long run. So,
Right, and then I'm just, thinking out loud about it.
Another charter bus shows up.
Another charter bus comes up, we're gonna have to rely on you all, the neighbors, to tell us, so.
That's the
I got your number.
Think out loud.
So do you want to set the date for the council meeting? You want, is it okay to set the date for the next council? We can do it.
Because it needs to be 10 days before he's notified, or after he's notified, right?
We have to give him at least 10 days.
Do that tomorrow, whatever we gotta do.
You know, what happens if he comes up and says, hey, you know, you're gonna have to have a signature when you send it? Because you have to just say, I don't have it. I know
He's been served. I mean, we're making, it's just like anyone else that we send letters to.
Okay.
Just because they don't sign for the letter to get it doesn't mean that we haven't made a reasonable attempt to send it. So, there's some of that. Okay. Mr. McDonald. Mr. McDonald is a process. Anything that has to be served has to be served.
That's funny, yeah.
All right. We'll do it.
Load and unload residential home.
Yeah.
Commercial vehicle.
There you go.
Does anybody have a problem with doing it at
Don't matter.
5:30? We'll do it before the council meeting?
Commercial vehicle.
2 weeks from now?
Bring it out. I know, but what are you gonna do when you ride off into the sunset? What are you gonna do when you ride off into the sunset?
Yes. When we have council meeting at 6 a.m., we'll just get here and get that.
Thank you. I'll show up at 8:30 and say, hey, can we drink coffee?
Right out those people.
Okay. So we'll set the date for August 21st at 5:30 p.m.
that ordinance.
5:30 p.m.
It's real simple.
Okay. Is Jill here? Jill, have you seen her? Anybody seen her? Okay. All right. Ms. Walker had asked to be on the agenda.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all.
Thank you very much.
Ms. Walker had asked to be on the agenda to speak to the council.
Thank you.
She hasn't attended, or she's not here, so we'll just move over that.
Thank you for listening.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you all. Have a good evening. Entertain a motion to go into executive session pursuant to KRS 61-810, Section 1, subsection B and C, property acquisition and pending litigation. Motion by Jim, second by Carissa. All in favor?
Did you let them adjourn or what?
We don't have to.
I could sit there.
They say you don't have to stay. He's got
He went up there. Well, when I was at Walmart, he went to McDonald's, too. If they give him anything, they told him to get off the property. Brother, they got me out. I said, you can't go here, you didn't leave. Good God.
I'm gonna ask him something.
Yeah, they had cameras, they had a guy on both sides of the cameras.
All those issues you're talking about, files or whatever, all junk that they're. Responsible for saying the city doesn't have to incur this, the city's incurring this cost because we're letting them
throw whatever in the garbage and all that, I mean, in the water.
We verbally,
But they just don't get nowhere. Well, that's something like that's gonna have to put in right here or something like that.
It's hard to get them up.
I mean, I thought I heard you said it was a sizable amount of money, they said I heard. Somebody ought to be responsible for that, and the rest of us haven't said anything.
They're the only identity going to it, I think they look at it. They're the only identity going to it, I think they ought to get one of them.
That's what I use. It's more
Shouldn't that be brought up in front of the council more so than just addressing them having a problem, but as a remedy or a solution or whatever, what we need to do? Council.
No, we're gonna do it with the school board.
And you got your figures.
See if they'll voluntarily say, okay, we'll take care of it, and we'll leave it. But if they tell us no, we're baby, then we'll
You
have
take the
to.
documentation,
We'll have
say
to
we're
force it.
spending $10,000 to do this, and girls negligent. My question, I mean, to just keep it going and going and going. and-
Yeah, we can't force them to do it, but hopefully we'll work it out.
I think so.
Now, if that develops into,
You can have one, I didn't know you had two.
they're hoping, say there's 3 motels, and maybe 2 or 3 restaurants. Is all this pump deal, is it gonna, you gonna handle that much volume? 2 or 3 motels and 2 or 3 restaurants or something?
We'll have to make the upgrade. Just the other in town, yeah.
I have no clue.
And then if things build on out,
I couldn't tell you.
then they're toilet piles and then that way. It's still, but you just update the pumping, where you've got enough stuff to handle it.
Yeah, oh, it is. The whole thing is working.
Driving cars?
I don't know, I probably won't live long enough to see it, but if it starts building out there and everything stays profitable, it's gonna grow. It's gonna grow. It may take 10 or 15 years, but it's gonna grow.
What this is, growing things,
Oh,
isn't it?
yeah. And the deal over there from years ago, I think I heard him say that he's gonna, at one time, he's gonna run that street, right on out and come right in. King's Heights. That's all out.
No, not in big cars anyway.
What about we're coming in out there on Stewart Lane? Will it ever go in around there and come into Stewart Lane and across, there was a bridge gonna go across the railroad track and all that business?
Oh, yeah.
That's all still on the drawing board, huh?
Big time, didn't it?
Still good
But
possibility.
nothing on King's Heights.
No, it's too small.
Well, let's see, we talked about that one. I mean, that street even wouldn't have.
Water.
In fact, I think Junior Hedges, before he passed away, he said something about that there was an easement on one side of the street or the other for so many feet to make the street wider.
Right.
But if that's never gonna happen.
Started on the 32 today, double check plan the correct drive line angle. Think I can do it without pulling body off like I originally thought. Had pieces made, and start cutting that room, new seats tomorrow. Can't cut an A, might as well cut street right.
He's a dick, ain't he?
He is. He is. You know, I know he's 67 years old. He'd just go out there 2 or 3 hours a day and jack around.
He can get something done, but he don't get jackasses around.
It's been done already. You know?
That's your fucking dad right there.
Not mine.
Yeah.
No, they ain't bought anybody yet.
Hey, why didn't you have them send a pizza up here for everybody?
You and your Walt to pay for it.
I ain't got no money. You got connections, tell them, donate it.
You're crazy.
Oh, man.
He's gonna come in there and chew our ass there, right?
Yeah. What else you fucked up today?
I'm sure there's plenty of stuff.
You suckers never did tell me how come them guys don't have to have a temporary temp permit for them fucking selling.
Jamie said he'd come down and talk to you.
No, he didn't.
He can answer your question then.
Huh?
He can answer it when he comes back.
What's the fucking answer?
I think it's because they're not on the parking lot, they're not taking up spaces. Especially my guess, that's another way, I wanna give him.
Well, fuck it, then I'll put it on Graves next time.
He was husband, Greg, I don't blame him to do that shit.
I mean, they gotta do everything legally and right, because they don't want that. They tell them to take the Ronald McDonald House somewhere else.
Well, they can, but you know, it still goes back to that, still legal shit. I mean,
It is.
I agree, it's 100%.
It's pretty simple.
Well, but what they said, the ordinances of the subdivision, or what do you call them?
They trump the city can enforce the ordinances of the city.
The deed restriction, I mean, there's the there's the legal trump card. That's why it's a question, how do they expedite it?
No, I think they went on the other side, Ken.
Oh, well?
Yeah, I think they went on the far side.
How do you expedite that process? I was, you know, if
The quickest way I see to do is you advise them that you have legal counsel, a lawyer advise them, hey, this needs to cease immediately. I mean,
you know, if Steve drew the deed restrictions up, let him do it and get the work stop order, get an injunction from it. I mean, you can.
But you can't go to the, you ever go to try and get a fucking injunction? It takes fucking 2 weeks to get it.
Well, that's why.
Unless somebody's killing somebody, I mean, you ain't
Well,
gonna
then
get
that takes a week, so they're dead.
Right, so you're not gonna get it.
And that's the reason I think Pete was saying that, because I just thought they'd go like that, but
They won't
it's just
do
like
it.
getting someone served. They have to go up there and do it, they have to send a text
I
to
know.
the guy served.
Well, that's like,
I know.
well, if Ronald McDonald wants to run a place like that, I got 2 duplexes out there on 4.8 acres. He buy those fuckers for $500,000 and do whatever, you know, build 3 or 4, 5 or 10 houses out there, whatever the hell you want.
you could do the same thing, rent your, but yours, you don't have deed restrictions.
But my duplexes out there,
You're on 25 still?
Yeah.
You still own them?
yeah,
God, you've had them forever, ain't you?
20 years. So, but see, they're on, it's 4.8 acres out there. You could build 14 more duplexes out there if I wanted, or, you know.
You got enough fucking to handle these new motels?
What about, yeah, the impellers?
No,
I got a
not-
quick question about that. Can they go ahead and just equip them? Because it sounds like they're gonna need it, so why not do it up front and be ready for it instead of later, or is this cost prohibitive up front?
They're on different pumps.
It ain't on the pumps they're
Yeah.
putting in, this is on pumps somewhere else.
I'm saying on the pumps they're bringing in, have those bigger impellers in place.
They already
They're
are.
already
Oh,
on
okay.
the pumps.
Yeah, they'll handle
It's on
it.
the
Okay.
pumps that
But the
they're-
upgrade
I
will
didn't
be
know,
down
I
there.
didn't understand that.
Yeah, it's on the-
I was concerned about, the pumps we're buying big enough to handle the load for when it's built out totally? That's kind of where I was going
They
with it.
will
We don't
be,
give a
yeah.
fuck, 'cause we'll be dead.
In the event, yeah, in the event that it goes a whole while out there or whatever, yeah, we just upsize the impellers on what we're just doing, you know, on the.
Well, I was gonna say, well, the reason it's clogged up out there now is because the horny high schoolers are throwing rubbers down the toilet all the time. That's what's clogging them up.
I never had a
Most of the underwear, did you say?
Most of the underwear, shop towels, cell phones,
Did you get
Coke
'em-
cans.
did you get
500 MGs are real bad.
Did you get the new ones with the neuter valves?
I got the motor and the flux capacitor in it, so.
People don't understand. But, you know, those those pumps, and those things are friggin' expensive, man.
Yeah,
I remember that day you were telling us about the underwear getting wrapped around, and that's what burns them up.
Yeah. Unreal.
they don't take much.
And little thong panties them girls wearing, they get in a hurry and peel them off. And throw them,
They
you
never
know.
wore thongs when we were in school.
No, they have, now they just don't wear panties anymore.
They have phones back in the 50s?
What them granny panties?
They're bloomers, isn't it?
Hey, you should have come up there yesterday, we would pluck that motherfucker out of there, man.
Oh, yeah.
That's stirring you up, ain't it?
I was gonna get it, I was gonna take it some bitch, and they said, that's Ken's tree. I said, well, he's got somebody coming up to dig it. I said,
Well, I thought Rodney would yank it out of there,
I said, well,
but
fuck
this
off.
morning it was,
What happened yesterday?
I said, I'll leave her then.
What happened?
That's
He
funny.
had a tree out there at McDonald's, and they were gonna give it to him. And then this morning, they said, fuck it, they ain't giving it to him.
Hey,
Did I tell you about all the shit they give me Friday?
About what?
Stainless, they give me a stainless table out there. I
Yeah.
asked them if I could have it, and they're like, yeah, take whatever you want.
That's because he went out there.
Read section D there.
Well,
Section D of what?
I'm going to the house.
Me too.
Section D of what?
On that fucking thing out there still?
Huh?
We didn't get to raise hell at all, did we?
I know.
Hey, do you have a problem seeing,
You understand? I mean,
Yeah, that's what you're saying.
What's it on that?
on the business license stuff. I talked to Jim this morning, I said, look, you have no provision in there, what, I said, where did you all copy this from? Because I said, I've studied this all weekend. And I'm telling you right now, what I was told on Friday, there's nobody up here that understands this better than me right now. There's no provision on there. I mean, what this is, if you want a business license, it's a way for you to generate revenue, a tax, a license fee. If someone wants to pay the maximum and not show their Schedule C, there's no provision, I mean, I don't care. I don't want to provide it.
So we can do that.
I said, well, just add an addendum to it. There's no provision for that.
what do you say, pay the maximum on the business license
Yeah.
without showing any information?
Yeah. You're still getting the maximum amount. Just add something to that. Or on the section D there where it says if if what's on there is not reflective of what you're taking in gross receipts, like I'm straight commission, what my gross sales are not reflected on my 1040 because I'm paid straight commission. So.
I don't know anything about that.
I do. I read it.
It's just like
Exactly.
I get ripped.
Well, the section D applies to you because not everything you sell is in the city limits of Dry Ridge. There's a provision for that, isn't there?
Yeah, it is. When that goes out, I'm selling it in Dry Ridge.
Okay, well, like I'm not.
I mean, I sell some to people in Crittenden.
No, what he's getting at is your snow plows, when you run in Boone County, you don't have to count that as your income in towards the city.
Oh, yeah, but I don't give a shit. I'm talking about the auto parts part of it.
Yeah, but I mean, it all
auto parts?
Yeah, but
that's.
I know,
But see,
No, I got what you're saying, yeah, because if it
Well, I
doesn't,
gave
if
you-
the enforcement don't prove correctly, you
yeah,
can
but
bounce
so you're
back.
saying that the parts I sell to the city of Williamstown, I don't have to turn in?
If you sell them at the store, but it's you running your Bobcat outside the city, it doesn't count for your.
No, if I sell the parts to the city of Williamstown, do I have to count that as selling at Dry Ridge, or is that Williamstown? Or is the ones I sell at Crittenden?
if the transaction takes place down there, no.
Yeah, but I can run the invoice through Dry Ridge, and they sign the invoice
Well, no.
in Crittenden or Williamstown or vice versa. So,
Well, that's what's the sale, lease, or rental of tangible properties in the city if the property is shipped from an office, store, warehouse, factory, or other place of storage in the city. And the purchaser is the United States government.
You all have a good evening. See you.
Why they give you so much crap for on Friday?
Hey, me?
Yeah.
no, they just give him all. He's a scavenger dude. He goes out and takes shit all the time.
Yeah,
All right.
I mean, anybody that takes
He's like the picker guy.
anybody that takes their daughter's swing set and cut the legs off and use it for a tailpipe. I mean, what do you expect?
That's a lie. I don't believe that is a lie.
That's the
Well,
truth.
Did he weld it on there for you?
No, but I seen a tailpipe that had a bunch of little holes in it. You know?
Well, I mean,
What's wrong with their swing?
You know how swing sets have holes in the pipes? Well, that's what his tailpipe looks like.
I can't help it, I'm tight.
that's all right. You're not tight. You're cost efficient.
I'm very cost efficient. He can tell you that.
I know, so there's somebody at work I know, he's retired, he was more cost efficient than you. He would drink a 20-ounce Mountain Dew for a week. And when he got down to the bottom, he'd fill it with water. He would take the bars of soap and melt them together.
Good man.
Just being efficient.
So what are you saying, Simpson, that we own?
Well, I told him, I said, that doesn't address, because I know a lot of business owners that are upset about this stuff. They don't have to provide that stuff. There's a different way to skin the cat here. I said 90% of the business people in this town are pretty damn honest. I said, let them choose where their stuff falls, let them check it off and say, if you sell between the 500,000 and a million, check $200. I mean, have a box for a flat fee of $500 or whatever.
Right, I agree. That's what I say.
I said, all you gotta do is make an addendum to this, It's not rocket science, it's just what I told them about this subdivision.
That's what I say. I say from 20,000 to 50,000, 50 to 100, or whatever.
Whatever, just check them.
Okay, mom's already trying to change it.
Yeah, well, your mom's got a lot of common sense. Yeah. But I mean.
You know what I'm saying? You know, let Walmart pay. I have to pay the same as Walmart. They do
Which is
64
bullshit.
million and I do $1 million.
Right, exactly.
You know,
I mean,
or
that's like
whatever.
I explained to him up here that night. You know, I don't sell you know, I can prove exactly, I've told you this, what I run through my office over there. Now, that doesn't exhibit or show what my gross premium revenues are for my agency.
It's screwed up. There's no doubt it's screwed up.
There needs to be flexibility, Bill. Nobody wants to try and cheat you out of anything.
Right.
But I damn sure don't want my 1040 running around here.
And I don't want to pay the same amount at Walmart.
Right. So it is what it. Well, I said
I wanted to go with Boone counties.
You know.
We're maximum 10,000.
Right. And it should be because Dana and all them, they
Covington's 40,000.
Walmart pays.
When I showed up to Jim this morning, I said, where'd you get this from? He said, Florence. I said, do you know what this says? Of course, I got, he just came back from vacation. But he was like, well, I said, it specifically says, if I can prove to you from an alternative,
and gives you the reason how you can do it.
It's right there in black and white, which was
you
what
showed me.
what I was telling you, I was telling Amy, which she got her panties in a while about. That what I was showing her was correct, and that proves it. I mean, and that's the deal there. I mean, it's not hard, but there's got to be a different, change the form. How hard is that?
It's the state form, that's where that's.
I know where you got it from the state form.
That's where we get most of the slack from, is not this, not the part in doing the taxes stuff, it's because we're changing the forms. We went through 3 forms in the last 3 years.
You don't have to change, they're overthinking.
Yeah.
They're overthinking everything. Come up with something, you ever heard of the formula KISS? Keep it simple, stupid? Keep it simple. It's not rocket science. I mean, and that's what I was telling, I said, there's got, just like this subdivision thing. The guy's obviously
Right. Not a thing in the law.
not of what the provisions of the subdivision thing are. I mean, he's willing to win a Greyhound bus full of Amish people. I mean, come on. I mean, he had ulterior motives up front.
Right.
I mean,
If he brought in another bus load, could they not call the fire department and say?
That's what I'm saying, the whole part of it is, that's be 3 or more apartments, where they get involved with that part.
He could pack 500 people in there if they could get them in there.
you know what? Jamie said you can't unload a commercial vehicle and stuff, have him unload the bus somewhere else. Or don't let him unload it at all, block it. I mean, that's a cluster.
I mean, the chances are he's not going to unload the bus. No
I'll
more.
bet you 100 there'll be either a bus like that or a bunch of them passenger vans out there.
There might be the vans, but there won't be the bus.
I don't know. I mean, the covenants of the subdivision or whatever they call that, I mean, that supersedes the ordinances. I can see why, I'm telling you right now, I've had it happen to insurance clients. Kid gets hit on a bike, people shit their pants, and that could happen just like that out there with that situation. Easy. And if they didn't, there's where you'll get into litigation, because it's been brought to their attention. If they don't take action, then you got problems. Then all of a sudden, the local government's getting their ass to get the checkbook out.
Huh? Yeah, I need that printer out of your car when you get a chance.
If a kid got hit out there, get the checkbook out and just write it.
Jacob's at the firehouse tomorrow.
Because you were made aware and you took no action to rectify the situation. That'll take 2 years to get it settled, but it'll happen. If you feel that, well, you should have done something about it. It's called negligence.
Like $240. I was going back to the camera and put a baseball cover. Apparently it wasn't recording, but it is now.
Well, Gary, he needs hearing aid stuff. He talks to them well.
Right. All the people always get you.
Judy's like, would you shut up?
Yeah, then he gets her help.
But there's,
No, but I mean, you're right. Because, when it comes
well,
to
it's your
that,
ordinance, and there it is.
That is not mine.
It's the city's ordinance.
Right.
I know it's not.
No,
yours.
I understand. And,
Well, there it is.
The way I read it, you're right. Is you were petitioning us the other way,
Yeah.
which is what it was, and which, as above me, but I mean, that's the way I read it.
And it's pretty straightforward. Now, I've got pretty good legal advice on that. So, it is what it is.
I don't know the one you asked about.
What are you looking, what specifically are you looking, I'll tell you where it is.
The enforcement part.
The enforcement.
I mean, those are right there.
Yeah, it's in the back, page 10 or 11. I just put this on the front.
So, what was going on with rental properties and just renting out to one resident instead of doing all the little multiple ones, but it was just one person that the person was renting out to?
Can I say it again then? Like what?
Like, if I was to rent you a place, you stay there permanently for years and years instead of doing what Brooke's gonna do.
Right. I think that would be an issue. Brooks falls under the, what do you call it?
Can you please real quick, sorry to pull back.
That's,
So do I, business license?
because Brooke's renting out to people that are coming to.
I understand her part,
Yeah.
but what about my part, and I was just
Yeah,
renting?
if, let's say your mom moved out, you rented her house out to you.
Yeah.
She rented to you, and you paid her rent.
Yeah.
That's a business, your mom would have to have a license.
But that's,
But you can't have a business in that.
That's upon Kings, I don't know about the restrictions. That's only on those out there which the restrictions say it, just like we're worried about all the deed restrictions, because there's some in Brentwood apparently now as well. Like certain kinds of fence you can have and all these different things.
Well, she was just going over that there was a gray area, and I just didn't know what that gray area was.
It's one of those, I guess, like deed restrictions, a fine line, because we can't enforce it. But like if we knew beforehand, we wouldn't have done the business license.
we were looking at revocation of license, it was under, he was scrolling down through there pretty fast, but because I'd read this, I mean, it says for revocation of license, any license issued pursuant to this chapter may be revoked or suspended by the city after notice and hearing for the following reasons. Any false or intentionally misleading statement. Well, that qualifies out there because he filed that under false pretense. He knew he was going to be bringing in busloads of people out there and misrepresent the application. So right there, bingo's your legal out. He violated the ordinance. It's not, like I said, it's not rocket science. When you pull out.
So, right, yeah, I mean, we can go on that, but then they have to get in the hearing.
Right, but I mean, he filed it under false pretense.
But they still gotta give him a hearing.
I understand that.
Because see, there wasn't enough
I know what
I
you're
think they
saying,
had
just
one
go
last
out there and jerk it, but the legality bull crap is what's, it's just like, that's why McDonald's don't give none of that stuff away, because a man explained to me that they give a playset away, and a kid fell off of it, they give it to a school, a kid fell off of it and sued McDonald's. So he said, that's real simple, we don't give nothing away to nobody.
I was thinking, I think they were trying to
Because exactly that happened.
He said, he said, we've been good, he said, we give this stuff away for years. He says, and one time, causes all this time, costs us this money, he said, so now nothing gets taken off of the property. It don't matter if it's a penny or what, or a piece of pipe. He said,
Well, that's just like the lady that bought the hot coffee and spilled it on her hoo-ha, and she sued him for $2 million.
He said,
That is enough.
he says, we got guys standing right here, right now today, filming every bit of this. Every bit of it gets smashed. Millions of dollars trash.
Yeah, I think Jimmy drove by and said it was like, just like, it was closed, like pictures hanging on the wall, everything.
Everything.
It is, it's a total.
He said, we hate it. He said, the corporate of McDonald's hates it. But he said, we don't have no choice.
They don't, because of the litigation society we live in, everything's, I see it. I mean, I had a client, friggin' driving down 27 up there from Northern Kentucky University, right there where the Applebee's is. It's 7:30 at night in November, raining. My customer's southbound on 27. This drunk bitch comes to the place. She's wearing black hat, black coat, black pants. It's raining. All the 3 lanes of northbound traffic. She runs across, not in the cross, she runs across the traffic. Cars stopping, slamming on the brakes all over the place. And my client's here in the first lane, and there's a vehicle here and a vehicle here. These two stop. My customer's going 25. They pulled their OnStar to see how fast they were going. The lady lands on the hood of my client's car. Bam! Flips over it. Breaks her back. Drunker and Cootie Brown sues my client. Because of litigation, she gets an attorney. She just wanted her medical bills paid. Well, how about being responsible for your drunk ass? Don't be drunk and try to play Frogger across traffic at 7 o'clock at night. But the insurance company settled out of court for $65,000, which didn't pay half of her medical bills, but.
But she didn't pay him either, so she got the money, you know.
Well, no, the money had to go directly to the only way to the hospital, to offset medical costs. But still, that's an example of not taking responsibility for yourself, blah, blah, blah. That's just like when Barry was showing us the sidewalk out there that are uneven. Somebody trips and falls there, and it's the city sidewalk, they'll sue the city of Dry Ridge, as sure as we're sitting here. So, that's what I wanted to show you in the morning. You know. I studied that this weekend.
Did you?
Yeah, I pulled the ordinance, like,
Name your free time, wish I had that.
well, I was 6 in the morning, I was bored, I needed something to do.
6 in the morning, that was easy.
Yeah, well, I was up drinking coffee.
So how many people hasn't paid yet?
But how many are not compliant? I've paid.
Right.
Those numbers are, we don't talk about, but skipped it. Counting all the ones that are in and out, all the ones I put in from the 1099, there's 700.
No, how many hasn't not paid yet?
700
700 what?
businesses.
In Dry Ridge?
And the ones that deliver and all that stuff. Like your Gateway Tire guy and all that
So
stuff.
you're just gonna let them go?
Oh, no.
But we get to pay?
Oh, no, I'm not letting them go.
Huh?
I'm not
What are you doing to them?
I gotta get through the stuff I've got and get them all caught up.
I know it, so then.
So there's 700, but there's.
So then, hell, I'm not gonna pay you, because it's gonna take you a year to get through all that, so I'm gonna be a year free. Huh? Yeah.
Now, we went around last Friday, the ones that.
Yeah, but you didn't get it.
Oh, we've got some.
That ain't the answer I want.
I know it's not the answer you want.
I know, but so if I have to pay, I want them to pay.
I know.
Well, then somebody's gotta get out and make them pay, or shut them down.
I'm working on it.
Huh? I know, but that's the answer I always get. I'm working on it, or it's going like this.
I'm only one person.
I know, but I have to
You're the
pay.
guy who keeps placing orders for the damn fuckers.
I have to pay. I know, so so get your ass down there and stop them when they get there. Say, hey, you either pay or you don't go
I'm
come back.
not gonna let them deliver to you.
Huh?
I'm not
That's
gonna let them
fine.
deliver.
That's fine. I'm just.
What about the vegetable stands out there that don't have?
Oh, now listen to this horse shit. That's because they park them on the grass and don't take up
Nope,
parking
they have
spots.
license.
Do you believe that horse shit? Huh?
He's talking about the variant, or the
tent permit. They don't have to have one because they're on the grass. I was on the parking spot.
what the hell's the word for it?
Who came up with that shit?
That's what I'm saying.
If they're selling money, if they're selling
Right.
money,
No,
Yes.
they're two different things. He's bitching about because he had to pay
$250 for a temporary tent permit.
because his tent sets up in the parking lot, which makes it not enough parking spots for the business.
Do you believe that horse shit?
all right?
Now, the tent in front of, where the hell it is up there, in the grass, they have a business license.
But they don't pay a tent permit.
Why not?
For $250.
He does not take up a parking spot.
But the one out at the cigarette store in the parking lot.
Is he?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
What? Greg, set your shit up over at my office in the grass.
That's what I told him. I said, next year I'll
Well,
set the shit
and there's
up.
another thing too, is they got the 8x8 unit, how big is
I don't
it?
give a shit.
Doesn't matter, it's in the grass.
That's a
He won't be taking up a parking
I
spot.
know, I agree.
It's a temporary tent. I don't give a damn what size it is. It's a temporary tent. A temporary is temporary.
Well, if it's his
5 million.
if it's his
square feet-
parking spot, who gives a shit? It's his property, he can do with what he wants.
Because there has to be so many parking spots for so many square footage of.
He owns the parking spot.
If he set it up on his, that's fine.
Where was he set up?
Out there.
El Rio Grande.
Oh, well.
But it still doesn't matter if it's a tent that holds 5 million people or 5 people. It's a temporary tent.
I'm with him.
I figured you would be.
Tank, well, you're a good young guy and we like you. We're trying to help you learn how to do this shit. You gotta think outside the box. Okay? You gotta look at it from his perspective. I mean, that's a
Why don't you
bullshit.
just sell your shit to Rex? That way you two won't be fighting.
I don't fight with it. I don't have a problem.
No, that's a bullshit answer because he's getting penalized.
No, Rex had to pay one too.
Yeah, but not them other guys. I don't give a damn about Rex.
Oh, yeah, they did.
No, they didn't. Not these
the
guys selling the
fire-
vegetables. No, they don't.
Why don't the vegetable guys have to pay?
Because
The one's not set in the one is not in the parking.
But the other one is.
What the hell is that?
What vegetable guy? Are you talking about the one at the gas station?
Pete Roche, yeah.
Okay.
Just because he's not taking, so, are you serious? That's the defining thing between when you gotta have a permit and not, is because he's not taking up.
That's the way it's explained to me by Jamie.
No, wait a minute, let's not have about what's explained. What does the ordinance say? That's just like this thing. She was adamant, I had to attach that 1040 Schedule C shit to it, and right there it says I don't. It's alternative, they have separate accounting. If the portion of provisions don't represent, we gotta know what we're talking about. I mean, I don't like being ignorant about stuff. I'm ignorant enough on my own. But give me a little ammo, something I can, what's the ordinance say? Okay. Isn't this fun?
I'm wasting too much money going to college. I learned so much more
This
here.
is the real world, you don't have to do.
I know when we leave, you're gonna say, screw them guys, but that's okay.
That's okay, we make you, at least your job's not boring, right?
Because I know, I've been there and done that. And we ain't giving you hell just because we want to.
I know you are.
I just want to be fair. I'll pay my fair share if everyone else pays their fair share.
How much interest is it per month that you don't pay? It's like 1%.
1% of what's due.
Yeah.
They won't collect that either. Because they won't even collect the licenses. So they ain't going to collect the 1% because they ain't get the license.
They did for the pool store.
I'm just laughing. This is more interesting than cops.
Yeah, you screwed Timmy $25 too, didn't you? Timmy Beaver today. Charged him $25.
And
Late fee.
I'm just glad I got one more year left.
$25.80.
25 for the penalty and 80 cents interest.
I'd go back and do my last 2 years of college. I had a lot of fun. Trust me. What do you find the best?
Yeah, I'm looking at the zoning permit. I'm looking for it to be issued in accordance with the following provisions.
What does it say? Don't take somebody, my point to you in this, don't take somebody's word for it. You gotta know this stuff. So when somebody like me or Greg are hammering you on it, why, you say, well, over here on page 23 under XYZ, it's right there. And when you get into more senior leadership positions down here, if there's an ordinance out there that's dumber than dog shit, doesn't make sense.
Change it.
Change it to something that's common sense.
Oh, yeah, but then you gotta get those 6 to approve it.
They'll approve it.
They'll approve it and you give them enough heat because they can't take it.
Slip mama 20. She'll change it.
I like the way this girl thinks. She said, fuck it, go for the cash. Cash, money talks, bullshit walks.
Yeah.
It says, no land shall be used or building or other structure shall be erected, moved, added to, structurally altered, or changed from one permitted use to another, nor shall any grade be taking place on any lot of parcel or ground without a permit issued by the zoning administrator. That's just under a zoning permit, so that's why I look at it.
We're talking about permit still,
It's conditional.
I'm
tomato.
talking about that $250.
Right, so that's under a zoning permit.
All right, so.
Why does he have to have a zoning permit for a tent? Wouldn't that be an
Maybe it's
ordinance?
supposed to be a conditional use, which would then be $400. Greg, he's working right for you.
But why, that's fine, I'll pay it, but so does he. I'll pay it, I don't have a problem.
Well, we need to know what we're talking about, first of all. Let's get,
I will pay whatever, but the next guy's gonna pay whatever too. He's out there making more money on that shit and vegetables than I made on my fireworks, and he don't have to pay anything. So Gateway, they never have to pay the license?
For who?
Gateway.
No, he hasn't got last year's either.
Then why, that means, so then why don't you stop him?
I've never seen him down there.
Bullshit, dude, they ride through there every day.
Just because he's driving down the street, I can't go turn.
But he'll be in, there's 5 businesses or 6 businesses he rolls in every morning.
I haven't seen him in a long time. Let me put it that way.
so in the mornings, where are you? What's your routine?
couple rounds drove around the city before.
Well, just one time or every day?
Just a couple of weeks. Coming in.
Well, come over to my office tomorrow morning, I'll have the coffee on, I'll get you a cup to
No,
go.
but what time's Gateway coming to deliver?
8 o'clock.
He's there before 8.
No bullshit. No, he ain't, because I pay him for his car, so he ain't there until I'm there.
I'll say, because I've seen him drop stuff off early in the morning, because he was doing it to the tire discounters one day, I think.
Well, then just, there you go.
That was back in the
But
state.
you got 700 of them, how come there's so many of them?
So many of them been in, like the 1099s that we got. I think I mailed out for people that we got on 1099s today. I think there's over 30.
I don't understand how you can have 700 people not pay their business license.
Because most of them are in and out. There's delivery stuff, there's little things like that.
Well, then hell, it just...
What about permanent, how are we on permanent businesses, like permanent establishments such as ours? I mean, I've paid, but I'm
Out
not,
of the ones we went and made contact to the other day, last Friday, there's only, I think, 3.
no, I've paid.
But, I mean,
But I've paid, but I know I'm not
Right,
complying.
but I'm counting that as you,
I'm making
How many-
the
you're working with us.
Yeah.
How many
And so
total,
the
how many total have not paid?
700.
No, just, no, permanent businesses.
Oh, I have no idea.
I mean, 10, 20, 30?
I have no idea.
We had to, because you went out and served the papers.
For some, but not all, yeah.
So, I mean,
During the
is
time.
it 20, 30, 50?
15, 20-ish.
What are you doing out
Some of those we're working,
I'm getting nervous about
we're
it.
working with them.
Oh, I'm just getting his tool bag, so I don't have to go up front and get one. Somebody wanted to take my armrest away from me, 'cause
Hey, I just wanted this piece.
I can't do anything either way.
Why not? Well,
One piece?
Do you think that'd be like if we bracketed that? Shouldn't they come up with a form where they bracketed that? So I'll check this, you don't know, and say, there we are.
Oh, shut up.
She says this is way more fun than college, Chris. She's learning a lot more out here with us.
Yeah.
I thought you came to bitch about something.
No, I did not.
You did make it entertaining.
I didn't come to bitch about anything, I came to be informed, Pete.
Really? You
Oh, I'm
stay here all that time to be informed.
Well, you know, learn stuff you don't. Well, yeah, I didn't know the Amish people were taking over Ridgely out there. I didn't know that.
You jumped on that bandwagon pretty quick, I noticed.
Well, it's a no-brainer, what the hell are we sitting here, I mean, I understand legally, you got certain I's, you got dot and T's got to cross, but hell, it's a no-brainer.
You know what he told him there?
The next time Amishmen stole it, it's going to go about
Hell, I would.
What do you think?
Didn't you, Jim?
What?
You said I could retire 2 months early?
Sure, buddy. Well, I thought, because I haven't seen him working in the last 3 weeks, I thought he retired.
Well, I had to use up a little
Hang on a second. We're out of executive session, no official action was taken. Any motion to adjourn?
No official action.
Motion by
I'm
Jim,
gonna stay a while.
second. Second by Ron.
So
All in
why
favor?
is it
Show of
he has
hands.
to get